News Radio 700 WLW.
And Jace, especially doing what you do in print media, have you been getting a lot of lectures on the AI stuff and using ChatGPT, anything of that nature? I'm just curious.
Well, there hasn't been a lot of discussions yet, but I would think that there probably, I don't know, maybe there will be. Obviously, you have journalistic standards to uphold, and I mean you're upholding those, so it just this whole thing just seems really wild. And you do wonder, Ed, at some point, somewhere along the line, is some reporter somewhere for some media company, I don't know, whatever media outlet, gonna put something in AI, and then they're gonna plop out a column or a story, and then somehow get caught. I mean, it just.
Well, all kinds of issues with AI and copyrights and on and on and on. That's the reason we call in an expert, our good friend John Risby, the patent professor. He's an adjunct professor of patent law at Nova Southeastern Law School in Florida, author of a couple of books, and a very good friend of this show. John, welcome back to the program.
Yeah, always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So, John, what are we looking at as far as AI goes, and these major companies stepping up and going, okay, we got your back if something fouls up in the process of using this stuff what exactly are we talking about here? I'm just very confused by this.
Well, I've got kind of a cynical view on this, because it's almost like, the water's fine, come on in, we've got floaties for everybody, but nobody's looking at the fine print. And I mean, literally, nobody's looking at the fine print, and that's the terms of service for all of these apps and software and websites. Everywhere you go, you can't use anything unless you hit this I agree button, and it's almost a fiction, as if anybody's reading it. Sometimes, a 99-cent app, who's going to read 47-plus pages of terms of service? And that's my concern when they say they have your back if you're sued for copyright infringement. That's if you're following their terms of service and not misusing the product. But they define what misuse is. And has anyone really read these terms of service before they're using a website? And even if you do, even if there's somebody that's originally read it, what do you do when you go to use the app and all of a sudden there's an update that you have to agree with? I had to take an Uber the other night, and sure enough, I'm ready to call the Uber, and something pops up and says, you haven't signed the reviewed terms of service. Now, I need to get my ride, get where I'm going. Am I really, even as a lawyer, am I going to read that 40-page terms of service before I agree? And I don't, and no one does. And that's really the worry here with Google saying, that they're going to get your back if you get sued for copyright infringement. And the biggest glaring myth that I've seen is that they don't include BARD in that statement. And that's what most people think of when they think of the Google equivalent of ChatGPT for AI. They think of BARD. And if that's not included, then there's all these other, like minor AI functionality or widgets or whatever on Google that are covered, but not the primary one that most people think of when they think of Google and AI, and that's BARD.
This whole thing just blows me away. Like I still don't understand how, if you would just take a topic and put it into AI and it spits out something that it literally looks like something that someone else wrote, how you can get in trouble for copyright infringement, literally, if you just took a topic or made up your own sentence and put it in there, and it came out with this, and oh my goodness, it looks just like what this person wrote at this time. How does that stand in court if you got sued for copyright infringement?
Yeah, so you can't avoid, you can't say that you used AI and therefore you didn't directly infringe. So that's not going to work. And that's, I think, the concern of Google and a lot of these other, AI companies, is that they don't want people hesitating. So they're stepping forward now and saying, listen, if you are sued for copyright infringement, we will help defend. But those are blanket statements without looking at the fine print. And it's almost no different than warranties, right? Like when they say, 30-day guarantee, or what does lowest price guarantee mean? You don't know until you read the actual guarantee. And sometimes, look at what all the things that you have to meet in order for that lowest price guarantee to kick in. Or same thing with money back guarantees. And that's why some companies have come forward with the no questions asked, because people are just so skeptical of refund policies and warranties. And I think they really should be skeptical of go ahead and infringe. Don't worry, we've got your back. It boggles my mind, because there's no possible way the amount of possible infringement that could take place would bankrupt the company. So you really want to rely on Google saying we've got your back. Like, there's no way they can have that guarantee work because of the sheer volume of potential infringement.
John Risby is our guest, and John, you brought it up a little while ago, these disclaimers and stuff, and again, like you're saying, we're just all trying to get along, get through our life. I just need to do that. This needs to happen now. If I see a thing on there, disclaimers, and it just says agree, disagree, of course you just hit agree, because you just want to get it over with. But
and there's a need for legislation too, because sometimes you're so invested. Like, say you've got all your contacts in Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. All your friends are there. Your pictures are there. Your data's there. All of a sudden, they change their terms of service. Something pops up saying we've changed our services, or terms of service. Do you agree? If you don't agree, everything you've ever put into that app is gone, right? So what real choice do you have? You have to agree. So agreement that's forced, is that really agreement?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, we're going to let you pretend that you have free will here, but in fact, either do it or you're screwed.
Right, and we're going to pretend that you've read this agreement,
right,
and you agree. Like, it's like there's a college that did an analysis, and they said if the average person was really reading everything that they agreed to, it would be about 6 hours a week minimum that they would be spending reading terms of service
right,
for just the normal apps and software that they use. Like, everything's got it. Like Microsoft Word, Excel, like you can't do anything without, do you agree to this? And no one's reading it. It's almost a huge fiction that, you agree. So, and they pop it up. Some of them, it's even hilarious. Some of them don't let you agree unless you physically scroll through the document.
Right.
And then they'll let you scroll to the end, and that's a fiction. Just because you've scrolled through it doesn't mean you've read it. You're just trying to, as you said it best, get on with your life.
Right. And so is anyone going to do anything about this in the long run? We're going to see the government step in and oversee it. And basically, let's face it, protect us from ourselves. Because
that's exactly right.
I think we are. Unfortunately, the laws are always lag behind technology, and it always takes some time before the laws figure out what the technology is doing. In the case of AI, the problem is it's moving so quickly that the laws are having, they're not, by the time they even get close to catching up, something new is out there that's changed. But we've seen this for a while, not just with AI, and like drones, for example. Like there was a time when you're seeing drones at state parks and everywhere because people weren't, they had no laws to address it. They had no signs up. They had no enforcement, no oversight, and they were getting away with it. But that's no longer the case.
And John,
in that technology, something else comes up.
And John, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Senate right now, right, there's something called the, quote, No Fakes Act that basically is, fighting against, copyright issues with likeness and work of art. That's sitting in the Senate right now?
And It is, and 100%. It's needed. It's needed yesterday. Like there's, celebrities are having. They used to, be compensated for endorsements, and now they have AI endorsements that are not. That's not them, but the public doesn't know it. Nobody can tell the difference. We've had the fake Drake song come out that for all intents and purposes sounds like Drake.
Yeah. Well, we found a thing not too long ago. It was like a Public Enemy song, or I forget who it was. It wasn't Public, but nonetheless, a really intense rap song done by Hank Williams Sr. And it was like I think it was like an NWA song done by Hank Williams Sr. It sounded exactly like him. And it's insane. Well, John, we can talk about this, and I'm sure we will be talking about this for a long time to come. Thanks so much. It's always a pleasure. People want to find out more. Where can they go?
The Patent Professors, the website. It's also our handle on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere. The Patent Professor.
All righty. Thanks so much, sir.
Yep. Always a pleasure. Thanks.